that was maybe the saddest thing I've ever heard. There's always something you can always count on in the NHL playoffs, and that's shitty announcing. Hey folks, welcome to Rinkside Report. Rob Staggenborg with Caitlin Roche, and we're joined today by our great friend and great host, Brian McKenna. He's a St. Louis area radio, TV, all-around good guy, social media personality. And, Caitlin, what we talked about last week, the NHL playoffs are always, there's always something you can always count on in the NHL playoffs, and that's shitty announcing.
Yes. We've gone over this. The narrative is shit, and I'm so fed up with the stupid New York narrative and blah, blah, blah. We've heard it year and year again.
So let me reel it in. Let me reel it in a little bit. Kate is from Caitlin, again, roots for the Boston here. We were in St. Louis. We were kind of complaining about the refs, and everybody's talking about the jobs that's going on. And it's not so much about the specific incidents, Brian. And someone who's kind of worked in the media, it seems like the media, they get on a topic and that's just the thing. They just want to create a narrative. And like, especially, we all bitch about Pierre McGuire because he's kind of the hot rod of all this. But, you were in the business. I mean, what is this whole thing about creating a narrative? And is it bullshit or is it the truth?
No, it's, I mean, a lot of them are full of shit. I mean, they're trying to, make themselves a part of the story, and, they're rehearsing lines. So they're, it's so, some of that shit is so premeditated. It's like the louder I speak, the more people, want to hear from me. And it's like, no, sorry. Just, what, Kelly Chase, we're lucky here in St. Louis, Rob, with Kelly Chase, former Blues analyst, former Blues player. And Kelly would broadcast to inform and entertain. But he would give you the information, but he wasn't trying to be entertaining. He just was entertaining. But some of these guys, it's so rehearsed. It's faker than a soap opera slap. I get sick of that shit.
That's a good comparison. Well, good to know from someone that's been behind the scenes and has done this before that, it is true. Like, they do just write down all the things that they think they want to say, and they're just going to say whatever they want to say, even if it's incorrect.
I think it's like they put the meat out in front, and then someone sniffs it, and then all of a sudden, all the reporters come, and that's the thing. That's the only thing they can work on is that piece of meat,
It's the Kardashian world we live in. I blame the Kardashians.
Jeez.
No, but it is, it's just so. Not all. I guess we should say that. Not all. And not just hockey. Like, I really enjoy when Joe Buck does football or baseball. Joe's informative and entertaining. And by the way, when he does Cardinal games, he gets shit from whoever the opponent is because Joe lives in St. Louis. You know how they just destroy him and say he has a bias with the Cardinals. I can tell you, Joe loves the Cardinals because he grew up in St. Louis, but he doesn't give two shits.
Wait. His dad also was fucking Jack Buck.
Yeah, and hey, Rob, is it the anniversary today of Jack Buck's passing?
I think it might be. It was in June.
I know it's Paul McCartney's 79th birthday today, so just throwing that out there.
So, but Caitlin, these are all old people that you may not know.
Okay, I know Paul McCartney. Okay, let's just take it easy.
So, I'll give you an example of shit that bothers me with broadcasting. When they try to act like they know more than everybody else on the planet, football, one of the St. Louis Cardinals, the ex-St. Louis football Cardinals. Yes, Caitlin, we had a football team called the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hannafin was the head coach. And I had a private conversation with Jim Hannafin about this. And I was like, people talking about the A gap and the B gap and all that. And here's exactly what he said to me. McKenna, let me tell you something about football. Here's what you do, all right? You see the guy in front of you, put him on his ass and try to find the fucking ball. That's what football's all about. And I was like, thank God. It's that simple. They're some of these announcers nowadays are just trying to outsmart each other. Ron Jaworski one time was talking about Tim Tebow, and he said, the problem with Tim Tebow is he can't go downfield because when he throws, the ball loses air. I'm like, the ball loses air? No, you dumb shit. It was a short throw. I get sick of that. I just get sick of people. It doesn't matter which sport, you know. In fact, I think hockey announcers don't do it as much as football and baseball.
But you know, there is a movement on the advanced analytics, and everybody's on the analytics and blah 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 blah.
Can't stand it.
It's
Can't
not
stand
for
it.
me.
That's why I quit listening to a lot of sports talk radio, because they're just trying to be smarter than everyone else. You know, it's just like some of these sports radio guys that I used to work with love the combine. You're going to drive to Indianapolis and watch it. And as Dick Vermeil said, I don't really care about the combine. It's just a bunch of guys in pajamas. I was like, so you really love sitting around all day watching guys just do 100-yard sprints? Well, I have a more exciting life than that. You know, I'm with you guys so much on this. You got me started. Now I'm pissed.
What would you, Brian, what would you want to see if this is like, you're going to create, like, say you're creating a network and you want your announcers, like, what would you want them to be like? You just want them to be straight up. You want them to just say spit facts and not create their own little like story line in their head. You don't want them to be like you said, I think that was like a perfect explanation when you're like, they're not smarter than everyone, or they're trying to be like way ahead of everyone when it's like not even making sense. What would you want? Be
genuine. Be genuine. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on. Don't speak over my head, okay? Or don't try to speak over my head. And that's Dan Dierdorf's perfect example. When he did football, he was the analyst. He just told you exactly what's going on, but then he would give you a little insight because a former player, you know. But he would also do his homework. Just tell me what's going on and why he did that. That's my favorite. If you want to be entertaining, go ahead. Joe Buck's very entertaining.
My favorite are the guys all try to be Frank DeFord, want to tell these beautiful, waxy, nostalgic, and only Frank DeFord can do it. Only Frank DeFord can do it.
It's not all puppies and back rubs, okay? I mean, they just don't. How about this? Don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining, okay? We're not like curing cancer. We're not devising a strategy to win a war. We're talking about fucking sports.
Yep.
I'm watching the US Open right now. Yep. I had to turn the volume down. Guy hit a ball and it's like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, he just mishit it. That happens in golf and every other sport.
Yep.
Don't tell me the wind and all this shit. That's the shit that bothers me.
Well, again, I think where Caitlin and I come from, I think that, you know, we look at first certain players, though, you know, Nathan McKinnon, they all of a sudden the media, they put out, oh, he could be an MVP candidate. And then February, you know, that story, they're on national TV. Oh, you know, they build that storyline. And when you look at the stats, like, yeah, I mean, he's probably legitimate, but I mean, they just built that case for him. And it wasn't even, it just was so, you could see right through it.
You know what we call that in the media? That's called a dry hump. Quit dry humping them. That's what we call it.
Yep.
It's like if I'd see a broadcaster and I listen to the broadcast, I'd just say like, hey man, quit dry humping Wilson. All right. You mentioned him like 7 different times, dude. What are you, are you dating? What's going on?
I love it.
Caitlin, take that one with you.
I'm honestly, that's a great just description or explanation because of what they're doing. Like that's exactly what they do.
It's dry humping.
You know, Brian, to bring us back to kind of a little bit more of a center point here, you know, you've been part of this whole, you've seen media from the old VHS tapes to the old camcorders to now digital. Now your fucking reporters are 12-year-olds with iPhones and who are down on their daddy's, suite, and it's like, whoa, so I think that maybe the general public, and again, with the elections and everything going on, people are like, whoa, the media, and I don't think the media people are smart enough to see it. Like, I think that they just think that that's a conversation that only a fraction of America is having. Well, now even large people who never used to talk about that are now talking about that. So to me, it's very concerning that the media is not getting it. They're not seeing that,
no. That's why it's up to us to find out who's credible and who isn't. You can tell like I said, the rehearsed actors. I call it paralysis by analysis. Just like you guys said, shoving something down your throat constantly. And a lot of times they want it to be about them. I'll tell you the show I cannot stand is, I don't even know the name of the show. It's Stephen A. Smith, and then
Oh yeah.
who's the other guy? Max somebody.
Yeah, Kellerman, Max Kellerman. Yeah.
Fakest shit I've ever seen in my life. Those meetings, he's like, okay, I'm gonna say this, and then you act like you're pissed off, and then you raise your voice, and the show that's worse is actually Sterling Sharp and the other guy, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
And that's horseshit. That's what happens when you have to come up with 24 hours of programming.
Well, yeah, and that's creating sports theater instead of sports programming. And really, I think that's what people are starting to kind of pull the lid off. You're like, well, this is all concocted bullshit. So if this is concocted and if the refs are on the take and the umpire, like, where does it kind of end? And now gambling's taking over. So I think there's some real crossroads for sport to really, in sports media, to really take into account moving in the future. Again, people aren't watching baseball games. They're watching highlights on their phone, 2 minutes of highlights and they're done with the game. They're not going to sit through 3 hours a game. So, hockey has that. I mean, Caitlin, your generation, you guys aren't really going to the ballpark much to hang out, are you?
Yeah, it just depends if you like the sport, right? If you're passionate about the sport, you're going, and you deep dive into baseball or you deep dive into hockey or football. But if you like it, you like it. And some people, they just want to watch the highlights because they don't care about the slow game of baseball, and that's just their opinion.
Yeah, baseball's a beer drinking event. It's a conversational sport, whereas hockey, there's shit going on all the time. I mean, you look away, you're going to miss something. Football, they have the break in between plays. Baseball, thank God they came up with the rule where the pitcher has to, I forgot how long, but
I believe it's 10 seconds or 12 seconds.
Thank God.
But even that's I feel like excess. I don't know. I get it. You have to think about what you're doing and you're going through the motions, but it's like, it does drag on. Some of those guys do milk it on the mound. And
I don't remember the last time I watched an entire baseball game. I can watch an entire hockey game easily. I can sit all night and watch UFC fights, but I can't. Baseball, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older, but I find it extremely boring. And you nailed it earlier, Rob. All these statistics and what does WAR mean in baseball? WAR. They always talk about the guy's WAR or something. I'm like, what does that even mean? Or his, and it's not even win percentage or something. What he adds to the win.
Yeah.
I can't. That's why I cannot listen to a baseball specific show. I'm bored as hell. And the worst thing is when they get these grown ass, out of shape ex-athletes on a fake diamond, on the baseball or the football, they get there.
And with the bat, the bat. They got the bat too, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, you fat, out of shape. You look stupid. I can outrun all of you. I could have outrun all of you when I was going through chemo. It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, again, Brian, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to wrap up this segment. Again, this is one of those hot button issues, again, because the media affects so many people. And again, we laugh about it. We have fun with it. But again, people are being, opinions are being shaped by what's going on in the sporting world, at least. And the reason I bring that up, NBC's losing the NHL. TNT has an opportunity. Are they going to bring a guy like Pierre Maguire? Are they going to try something new? Are they going to, really think out of the box? So, stay tuned on that. I think TNT, I think they may embrace some of that newness. But boy, I'll tell you what, NBC, they can't be done quick enough for me.
I hear you. I'm with you 100%.
Caitlin, final thought?
I mean, I agree with you guys. I've already ranted, I feel like, enough. I feel like the narrative is, I've got my opinion out there that I just think it's one-sided and they just want to say whatever they want to say. And that's that's what everyone goes to. And that's just, we're burnt out. Clearly we're burnt out of it.
They're making mute button pushing an Olympic sport. I just keep hitting mute. Put on some good music and watch the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to wrap up this segment. Again, this is Rinkside Report. I'm Rob. It's Caitlin with Brian McKenna. Catch up with you guys next time. And then 3, 2, 1. Caitlin, I know you know exactly what time it is, and it's your most favorite time of the week. And that's the week that we scour the internet for the weird, wild, and bizarre news in our That's Odd segment. So, Brian, you're going to join on with us, and certainly your reaction. We'll see what you have the same reaction that Kate does. So, our first story, Kate, comes from actually sunny California, where you are, Kate. It happened on the NBC production lot. So they're doing a show called Ultimate Slip and Slide. And Brian, I think you already know what this story is. And but it's due to come out in August. Well, apparently they had a little problem with the catering truck. Everybody on the set, there were 40 people on the set, experienced what they called explosive diarrhea.
On the slip and slide?
No. Let's clarify that. That's gross. What you just said is disgusting. So
I bet the ratings were shitty.
Yeah, they were real shitty. So let me slide back into this a little bit here.
Okay.
So the show is called Ultimate Slip and Slide. And it's just like one of these shows that have like crazy slides. Well, they have catering trucks on these sets. And apparently one of the catering trucks had some food that was contaminated, and 40 people ate the food, and they all experienced what was said to be explosive diarrhea, to the point where they had to actually stop production because people were like basically beating each other up to get to the bathrooms. And Brian, you and I have done that. I mean, I've knocked the shit out of you to get to that toilet.
I remember that. No, you know what? I read that, and I was just think about that. 40 people. And you were right. They were all like waiting for people to get out of the bathroom, and it was just crazy. Didn't they shut down production for a month or something?
Yeah, a couple of days. I think a week or whatever. Yeah. So it just was like, I think it's California weirdness. I blame everything on California weirdness.
And you know, on those production sites, they probably only have like, let's say like 5 porta potties, 40 people.
Porta potties.
What a nightmare.
Well, then, you know, the other thing is they probably had like potato salad that was sitting out for like basically from 8 a.m. next to the cottage cheese and the milk that was sitting out till like 9 p.m. They should have known, you know, don't touch that stuff past 9 o'clock. After an hour it's been out, don't touch it.
Bring your own lunch.
Yeah.
Just bring your own lunch.
Yeah. Or go vegan, claim vegan. So, Caitlin, you know what? Obviously that's weird. That is very strange, but most of all,
that's odd. That is odd. That is weird and gross. Odd.
So our next thing comes into, and again, we've all have big families, and we get invited to weddings and events, and it's really difficult because there's so many. So here's a guy that he's from let's see, I think he's from Montana, and his niece was having a wedding, and he decided, you know, I'm going to skip the wedding, and he ended up going out to Las Vegas and entered a poker tournament, and ended up winning $367,000, and basically said, you know, hey, fuck it, you know, my niece is getting a better present now. Would you be pissed if your uncle kind of skipped your wedding? I mean, you know, my uncle, no. I'd just be like, stay away. It'd be cool, but.
Are you getting some money from missing out?
Well, apparently his family was upset with him for skipping out to go gambling, but I mean, he did come back with the payday. But he said he felt it in his soul that he really felt like he could win that tournament. So he just threw it all in.
That's tough. My Irish family, he'd get a good ass kicking by all of us when he got home. You can't skip family wedding. Now, wait a second. Is he a professional poker player?
I mean, I think he goes to tournaments, but he's not. You know, I don't think he. I think he said that he's actually won $500,000 in winning. So 367 was his big win. So he was won a little bit, but I don't know that he was actually professional. But the other thing is, you know, how if you're the niece, I'd use it. I'd be like, fucker, man, you're paying me, dude. I'm sorry. I don't care. I need about 5 G's. I mean, we'll call 5 G's. That's the starting point, you know?
Yeah.
I think she deserves 10% of the winnings.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Brian. Yeah.
10%. You skip the wedding. Now, of course, with the divorce rate, you can always catch the second wedding.
I was just going to say, but if they get divorced, does she have to give half of it back, or does he take half of it? Like, I don't know. It gets really sticky. And again,
he pays for the entire second wedding. How about that?
That's a good one. That's a good bargain.
How about he pays for the honeymoon?
I think that's deal. Yeah,
That's
but
nice.
what if the honeymoon's in Vegas? Where he's like, oh, I'll take you to Vegas. I got a free suite. You know, I don't know. I think there's a whole lot of levels of this whole thing. But again, that's what we do. We scour the internet. We find stories that you're not going to find anywhere else. You're not going to find this on mainstream media. Well, except the diarrhea story. Of course, everybody was all over that. That was front page news everywhere. But Caitlin, you got anything for us today?
That was odd from that topic. No weird stories on my end. I haven't heard any of slip and slides and money gambling stories. No.
Okay, I kept it tame this week. I've kept it pretty
You
tame this
did.
week, so.
Sometimes it gets dirtier than explosive diarrhea.
Well, I got an odd one. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the guys who broke into the Capitol. Have you heard this story about he's running for office? Now he's still up for charges. He's running for office, so he did an interview on one of the national networks, and he said he's running for office and he's serious about it and all this. And he said he's going to beat, and he named this person, and they said she's a U.S. congressman. She's not a state. He actually had been talking about this for a week, and nobody told him that she isn't up for re-election. So he said, what? Yes, she is. And this is on national news. And the person corrected said, no, she's not up for re-election until 2 more years. And he said, well, then I'll just run against somebody else in the state. And I'm like, these are the dipshits who went into the Capitol, right?
Wow.
And you know what? Put him to jail forever. In jail forever. You break into our Capitol. You know, people forget over 100 police officers injured, several died. Put them in, you know, put them in the funny farm, whatever the hell you want to do with it. I don't care. I don't want them wasting our oxygen.
And I feel like the media didn't really afterwards. I feel like they tried to like get it hush hush with all the punishments that those people kind of face, because the government did end up finding those people. Like they refound
400 now.
All the cameras, all the photos, the footage that they all had in the Capitol was like, they're gonna find you. But they didn't really ever go into what the punishment was. I know they like went to jail or paid a lot of money, but I think it was, again, hushed by the media. The narrative was just like, let's just like not capitalize that we just got broken into and like totally taken over.
Well, the one politician, I don't know if he was Democrat or Republican, said he was in the building and he said it was just another day like tourist in the building. They showed a picture of him yesterday on the news, holding with 3 other guys, holding back a door and a barricade for people coming in.
Yeah.
That's you know what? That's the type of shit that has to stop in that country. Once again, he pissed down my leg and told me it was raining.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I wish we could do an entire show on your one-liners, then we could fill up an entire show. But we're going to wrap up this segment, and we'll catch up with you guys next time.